Hey everybody, Jim Weller, and we are live right here at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. I don't know if you can smell the bacon, but there's a lot of good food cooking here, and it smells really good. Chad Robinson is with the Food Bank of Delaware. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Real good.
Good.
What is Food Bank? Like, is it a bank, like a bank where people make deposits, or withdrawals, or
it's a good question.
Okay.
I try to get people to think about it just as a bank. We're exactly what our name sounds like. We have the generosity of people in the community that come and make food donations. They're able to bring food to sites like their church or the local community center or the school where they're doing a food drive. They take all that, they bring it to us, they drop it off. So the deposit, if you will, that deposit comes in, and just like any other bank, we store that food, we take care of it, we take care, make sure that everything is good with it. And then eventually somebody comes in, an agency, so again, it might be a church, a community center, somewhere in the community. They get that food from us, and then they're able to give it out to the people in the community. So that's the withdrawal portion. So encourage people to think of it just like you say, just like a regular bank.
Like a local bank.
Absolutely.
A community bank.
A community bank, that's right.
Now, if people donate to, we'll just say, where do you have a food bank? How many is there?
Well, we have two locations of the Food Bank of Delaware. There's one in Newark, it serves Newcastle County, and there's one in Milford, centrally located for Kent and Sussex County.
Okay. And so if people bring something, how does it work? Like, say a church says, hey, we want people to bring some items in that we're going to donate to the food bank. So they've got these items collected. Does the food bank come and pick them up, or do those people then take them to the food bank? That's
another good question. Well, both could actually happen.
Okay.
So let's say that local church wants to have something at the church. Everybody brings food on by. They take it, put it all together, and then we could send a truck to come pick it up if it's a big donation, or they've gotten a lot, or somebody can't get to the food bank to drop it off, so we'll send out a van or a truck to come pick it up. Or if they want to come by the food bank, they can also do that, drop it off at our site in Milford, and then we take care of getting it out. And sometimes it's good when people just stop by the food bank because they're able to see our warehouse there, and they're able to see how we store the food and everything. And for a lot of people, that tends to be pretty meaningful. They're able to.
They can also see it as like real.
Absolutely, they can put a face to it, if you will. It gives them the opportunity to come in, see everything that we're doing, and when you walk into a warehouse, Jim, and you see a warehouse full of food, and you realize that it's not going out to your grocery store, it's not going out to Food Lion, it's not going out to Sam's, it's not going out to Walmart. It's going out to people that are hungry. It really has an impact on a lot of people. So we try to make sure that we give that opportunity to people that are out there, that they want to stop by the food bank, they want to see what's going on. They can certainly do that, because if they need that to really recognize what's going on in the community, we want to give them that chance.
Right, a little more ownership.
Absolutely.
Right,
absolutely.
Audio, visual, so on. Now, like how often is the food bank open? Like what kind of hours?
Well, we're open our site. Our
Let's just do the Milford one.
Sure. Our Milford location is open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
Oh, so every day, basically.
Every day, yep.
5 days a week.
Yep, so people can come on by, and they can drop it off. We also have quite the volunteer base, too. So we also give people the opportunity to volunteer at the food bank to help us do the work that we do. Last year, organization-wide, we had over 15,000 individual volunteer visits, which hour-wise equated to about 24 full-time positions. So we give people the opportunity to come in, help us sort food, help us pack the meals for after-school feeding programs that we're servicing across Kent and Sussex County, backpack programs, all those things. We give people the opportunity to get involved in that as well.
15,000 hours?
That's right. 15,000 unique volunteer visits, hour-wise.
Not counting the paid employees'
That's
hours.
right. That's right. That's right.
Is that just in Delaware?
That's just in Delaware. Shocking, isn't it?
That's a lot of hours.
It is. It is. It is. It's a mess of hours.
That's like, is that 300 hours a week or 3,000 hours a week?
Well,
300 hours a week.
Well, again, visits. So that's Jim Weller comes in. Jim Weller comes in today. Jim Weller might come in again next week. So it's visits. And then the hours that you would put in, and I would put in, and somebody else would put in, we add those up, and when we add them up, that adds up to about 24 full-time positions that we had.
Now, remember, is that enough?
Oh. Well, we can.
Or is there always more that needs to be done?
Well, there's always a need. There's always a need. I mean, right now we're in the middle of expanding our Milford site, so we're doing
building on or building a new building.
Building on.
Building on.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're doubling the size of our Milford site, an additional 8,000 square feet of space there, and one of the big components of that building space is going to be a volunteer room where we're going to be able to bring people in. So if you came, Jim Weller comes to the food bank today, and you want to volunteer.
Okay.
We're going to accept your volunteer service, and most of what you do is going to be contained within our warehouse. So our warehouse supervisors trying to pick items for donations and people that are picking up, and our volunteers are there, which is great. We appreciate it, but we want to give our volunteers a space where they can work and they can and feel like they're really doing an impact, and then our warehouse supervisor can get things done at the same time.
Right.
So that volunteer space is going to allow us to bring more people in to volunteer. And one of the things that's going to be able to do is allow us to move some of our operations to Milford to be able to serve more folks in Kent and Sussex County. We know there's still a greater need out there. We want to continue to reach it. So as we do that, we can make sure that we're meeting all the need by having our volunteers have a good space to work.
Now, people come to this food bank and drop off food.
Yep.
And they also come there and pick food up?
Not individuals. So we don't do direct service to the public. We do through agencies. And the mindset that we operate under is basically that the folks that are in the community, so the local church, the local community center, those folks, they know best the need in their own community. So if we came in and said, oh yeah, we know where this food needs to go, maybe we don't know where those pockets of need are. So we work with those local community partners, about 500 statewide.
So you're like the food distributor to food pantries.
You got
that
it.
In other words, like Langford Cisco brings food to restaurants.
Exactly.
You technically bring food to
food pantries
and things like that.
You got it.
And then they are the ones who put the feet in the hands to getting them in the hands of whoever the people in need in that area of the community are.
You've got it. We might push the workforce at this point, Jim.
What funds this? Is this like a state thing or a government? Like, who owns the food bank?
Well, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so we're not connected to the state in any way. And the majority of our funds and the majority of what allows us to operate comes from people in the community that help, comes from local businesses, comes from supporters. So we are dependent on the joy of the community. We're dependent on the good nature of the community to help us meet our goals. So nonprofit, private donations, corporate donations, and those things. We are able to work in some government programs. So we after-school feeding programs that we do to feed kids after school. Some of those are funded by government grants, but it's all grant funding, and we are just working that grant for the government sector, or whatever the case may be, or a corporation that has a grant that they might want done. But all of it is through those types of means. It's not government funded.
So a person can not only donate food if they would like.
Right.
They could make a monetary donation.
That's right. Yep. And we just came off a wonderful holiday season. Talk about food donations. Amazingly generous people this past year in food donations. But also around that holiday time too, a lot of people took out their checkbook, wrote a check to the Food Bank of Delaware. And that it warms your heart when you see those checks come in. And a lot of them are, it's not necessarily big donations. It's mom or pop or grandma or grandpa who's writing out a $5 or $10 check and sending it in to the food bank. And it's each of those $5, $10, $15 donations that when you add them up allow us to do the work that we do.
Kind of like a slow drip will fill a bucket, just like a steady stream. Wow. Now, you work at just the Milford Food Bank or both?
I work at just in Milford. We're a statewide organization, so we're always working together for the things that we do. But my job is the branch director of the Milford operation.
All right. Now, whereabouts is this place?
Well, you know where Walmart is in Milford?
Walmart. That's that little store there?
That little one. You got it. You know where I'm at? Well, there's a little bowling alley right next to it there.
Okay.
If you go down Airport Road between the bowling alley and Walmart, and you're heading down, you'll go past, around a bend there, and there's an industrial park on your left, the Greater Milford Industrial Park. Take the first left right in there. We're right there on the left. Can't miss us.
Wow.
Yep.
And so people bring in food, people make donations.
Yep.
Do people donate other things, or it's just food? Like, do people donate a car to you and then you sell the car?
Well,
like, like some organizations will do stuff like that. In other words, so I just didn't know.
We've gotten some great donations, and sometimes we're able to use some things like that to help our own operations. So sometimes it might be difficult for us to acquire some of the things that we need. So generous donors and generous businesses have donated things like vehicles and stuff to the food bank in the past, and certainly those types of things come in handy when we need them.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're kind of open-minded to whatever somebody wants to donate, as long as they're not donating a burden.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, good. Do they have a website? Does the food bank have a website?
We do. We do. www.fbd.org.
FBD.org.
FBD.org. And on our website, you can find out how to volunteer, how to donate food, how to donate money. And you can also find out about a lot of those programs we talked about. The backpack program that's feeding kids on weekends, the after-school feeding program that we're doing every day after school. It's cold outside now, but summer's not too far away, so we're planning our summer feeding program to make sure that when kids leave school,
aren't in school for the winter,
aren't in school for the summer, are able to make sure that they have food throughout the summer when they're not maybe getting that breakfast and lunch that they're getting in school through the week. So you can find out all that information right there on the website too.
Wow. So this is a big, how many paid employees does the Food Bank of Delaware have?
Well, statewide, we've got about 50 paid employees.
Really?
Yep. And it's amazing some of the things that we do. I mean, not only do we have the folks that are necessary to make sure that when our agency partners come in, they get what they need, and the customer service aspect, and the warehouse folks to take care of getting that things out there, and drivers that you'd think of to deliver it. But we've also got a lot of programmatic folks. One of the exciting things that we're piloting up in Newcastle County right now is a community-supported agriculture program where folks will be able to buy shares in a local farmer's market. That underserved folks might be able to buy that share in the local farmers market, and we're going to be able to let them use their state benefits, their EBT benefits, that they might get SNAP benefits, to purchase fresh produce in the community.
So like tomatoes and
corn,
cantaloupe and watermelon,
and all that stuff.
Okay.
All that stuff.
That's a good idea.
It's a really novel concept, and basically what the beauty behind that is that a lot of folks that are underprivileged don't have the access to be able to get to those fresh fruits and vegetables. And one of the things that we find is if you look at the studies, folks that are underserved are usually are not utilizing and eating foods that are beneficial to their health.
They're eating whatever they can.
They're eating whatever they can afford. And some of those things that they can afford are things that are not rich in nutritional value. So we want to make sure that we're allowing them to introduce those nutritional items into their diet. So the easier that we can make it for them to acquire those fresh fruits and vegetables, the easier it's going to be for them to include it in their diet.
Wow. Yeah. That's a pretty good, interesting idea, isn't it?
Isn't it? There's a lot of
novel. So you're starting that up in...
We're piloting it up in Newcastle County right now, and the hope would be that it's very successful there, and that we're able to take that downstate. I mean, certainly the wonderful farming community that we have here in Kent and Sussex County. Last year, right here in Bridgeville, almost right across the street, we had our Dinner in the Orchard last year, where we partnered with T.S. Smith's and had a beautiful dinner in the orchard out here. It was great. And that was able to highlight, again, the local agricultural community that's right here in our town. And so we were really happy about that. And
that was your first time of doing that event?
Yes, it was. And it was really successful. It was a neat event. I was able to highlight, again, T.S. Smith's for all the great work that they're doing, and the wonderful thing that they're able to do for our community to get fresh produce out. And it also allowed us to partner with local farmers to be able to get the produce that's right in their fields right now, and be able to have that showcased in what we're able to do, because we are the food bank, so we do food well, and we have a couple chefs on staff who can cook too. And so by using that expertise and being able to have that event right here, it was really something that was successful.
You're going to do it again this year?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. September.
September. Another question I had was, if a person donates time, is that also a tax-deductible donation?
That's one of the questions I had just recently. I'm actually new to the food bank. I started in July as the branch director, and so that's one of the questions that I've asked lately, is if we can find out for a
It might be called like a like kind of. I'm not sure what it's. I just wondered. That's all.
Yep. Well, one of the things that's really unique is that let's say Jim Weller, for example, and you have your wonderful business there. If you wanted to give folks in your business an opportunity to volunteer at the food bank, and you wanted to be able to pay them for their time, we want to know if that's a tax write-off for you, for your business. And so as an individual gives their time, or as wonderful employers are allowing employees to give their time, we want to know that if that's possible. So that's something we're actually looking into. So we're on the same vein.
Okay, well, very good. What else would you like to tell us? You got a phone number, or do you just steer everybody to the website? Or
certainly everybody can visit our website. You can
tell them again.
www.fbd.org.
FBD, foodbankofdelaware.org.
FBD.org. And our Milford line, if you want to call, is 302 424-3301.
3301.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, while we have a minute, I do want to highlight the construction project that we're doing in Milford. If you're ever...
It's in process, right?
It is in process right now. I left today, and there's a crane sitting out there and steel
Really?
getting ready to go in tomorrow. So I encourage people to stop by and see what we're doing. Stop by and visit us. It's, again, like we said earlier, it's just that ability for folks to see, to have that heartstring attachment to it. And so when you do that and you see what we're able to add, what we are going to be adding by this summer, it's really a unique opportunity. And not only is it going to be that volunteer space, we're also starting a culinary school. It'll be our second culinary school in the state. So we're going to be training folks in our culinary school at Milford.
So the food bank is just on the move.
We are on the move. We are certainly on the move.
Now, do you anticipate bringing one lower down, or the one in Milford's just fine?
I think we're doing well in Milford right now, and we want to make sure that again we try to do the best we can in service in both Kent and Sussex counties. So we're happy in our location in Milford.
Isn't that something? Now, what did you do before this?
Well, I was the legislative assistant to Lieutenant Governor Matt Dehn.
Really?
So it was a highlight of my life, and certainly loved working for him. And he is that type of person too that showcases just giving back to the community. So when I told him I was transitioning into working for the food bank, he was extremely supportive, and we still chat. And a wonderful guy.
Wow! And how long did you do that?
3.5 years. I came in with the administration.
Okay.
Yep.
So in other words, in his first election is when you came in. Okay.
Yep. We started together, and the other day when I got to see him inaugurated for a second term, it brought back memories of 4 years ago.
Wow. Well, very good. All right. Pretty much that's about all I've got now.
All right.
So do you have anything else you want to tell us?
I think we're good. We've had quite the conversation today.
We have. So basically, if you want to get involved with the food bank, you can do this. You could make a monetary donation.
Right.
You could go out there and physically give a hand.
That's right.
You could donate food.
That's right.
You could spearhead a movement at where you work for people to bring in some canned goods, or if you're involved with a church or an organization and you want to be the one who, every once in a while says, hey, we're going to have a food drive and bring people. Mainly it's non-perishables. That's the word, I think.
We do a lot of non-perishable foods. If folks have things, fresh produce, if you're a farmer, as we come on the growing season and you want to donate fresh produce, we're always in.
What if a person just has a garden and they grow too many cucumbers?
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Okay.
We actually encourage folks to do a plant a row. Plant your garden, plant a row. Plant
just
a row
for the food bank.
That's right. Plant a row for the hungry.
That's a good idea, too.
Isn't it? Novel concept.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jim.
I thought you did a good job.
Thanks.
So, folks, stay tuned. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes. We're going to let Anthony Joseph do his Spinning Wheels Racing Report, and then we're going to have John Busby, who is going to tell us all about the polar bear plunge on a nice, crisp day like today. You can only imagine how exciting it is to go jumping in the water.
I kind of feel like a polar bear today.
Yeah. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes right after this commercial break.
And we're back live at Jimmy's Grill. Now I'd like to welcome my special guest, John Busby, who's the Director of Media Relations at Special Olympics of Delaware. And John, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. I'm thrilled to be here. It was a great drive down. I had a great meal here at Jimmy's.
And you were talking about you had the all-you-can-eat spaghetti.
All-you-can-eat spaghetti. I sent my wife a text message. She was concerned about whether I'd get a good meal or not down here. I tell you, I had all-you-can-eat spaghetti, and then I had the biggest piece of cake I've ever had. So I've had enough cake for the rest of the week.
Okay. Well, that sounds
great meal here at Jimmy's. In fact, I'm up and down the state a lot, so I'll be stopping by here again.
That's fantastic. Now we're going to talk about the polar bear plunge. It's the 22nd. Polar bear plunge in the 22nd year. What has been the coldest temperature?
Well, the coldest temperature, we actually were under 0 degrees back in 1995. It was one of those years very similar to this week that we're having here, where it was just cold, and the wind chill was actually minus 20 when we went in the ocean. In fact, the Coast Guard didn't want us to come down and do the plunge, but what we told them basically was, look, we're going to have a lot of people coming down. You might as well let us do the event. Let us do it safely with all the people we have involved to make sure it's a safe event. And sure enough, we did. Now, we encouraged people not to go in under their, get their heads wet and stuff like that. But some still did. But that was the coldest it's ever been. And I actually plunged that year, so I can attest to that.
Okay. Now, what is the age limit? Now, if you're like 80 years old and you have a heart condition, you probably shouldn't do that, correct?
No, but there is no age limit. We tell people to use common sense. And so have we had 80-year-olds go in? Yes, we have. My son, who was 5 last year, went in as well. But we always tell people to use common sense. And if you have a heart condition, or if you have, if you're pregnant, or if there's a good reason why you shouldn't be jumping in the cold ocean and giving yourself that shock, then make sure that you don't do it. And so, we're big on the buddy system. Go in with somebody. And, somebody might be listening saying, how can you let your 5-year-old go in? Well, he went in connected to me. And so I made sure we went in and came out together, and didn't go far in either. And that's, that's real important that people realize, there's no hard and fast rules that you have to go all the way in. You have to get your head wet. People always ask me that question, and I say, the bottom line is you're doing this for a great cause, and so you want to go in, you want to get wet, but the most important thing is that you do it safely. This will be the 22nd plunge. We've been doing it for 21 years. Last year we had 3,685 people run in that ocean. They all got out safely. We have not had a serious injury or anything worse in the 21 years that we've been doing this.
Now, if somebody just goes and gets their feet wet, that really doesn't count as a plunge, does it?
Well, it counts if they've paid their money to be part of the plunge. And, that's, again, we don't stand there with a clipboard and say, well, no, you need to go back in and do that again. But there is a lot of peer pressure. And especially when, we get a lot of high school kids and a lot of college kids and a lot of buddies that go down there. And it's like, well, no, everybody's got to go all the way in, or some run in and run out and go back in a second time and do that type of thing. So we have divers from the Delaware State Police team that are out in the ocean to make sure that people are not doing crazy things. And so again, that's we put more effort and time into the safety of this event logistically than probably a lot of events do, and that is because of of the situation. You've got over what will be 4,000 people running into the ocean in February, all within a 2-block radius. It's not like during the summer when you've got 4,000 people spread out around 10 blocks. This is a very tight situation, and so we're very big on safety.
Now, last year, a very warm polar bear plunge, 47 degrees. How many people participated, and how much money did you raise?
Last year, we had 3,685 people go in the ocean. We raised $650,000, and both of those were records. So not only was there a record in terms of how warm it was, there was a record in terms of the money raised and the number of polar bears who jumped in. And we are thrilled every year. We always, people always ask, are you going to have more people and raise more money year after year? And we've been able to do that. And a big part of that is because the polar bears bring back new bears each year. And I always tell people, we'll have 15,000 people on the boardwalk watching this event. And I guarantee you 200 of those people will plunge the following year for the first time, and then they become hooked. And that's how the event gets bigger and bigger and bigger. There's some fundraising events out there where it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's a bucket list item. And even though a lot of people think the polar bear plunge is a bucket list item, it's a bucket list thing they come back and they do year after year, most likely. And that's why we celebrate. We have anniversary bears. If it's your 5th year, you get a special sweatshirt, or your 20th year, that type of thing. And so we celebrate when people hit those anniversary marks, and it's become a big thing for a lot of people.
Okay, sounds great. So in 21 years, how much money has been raised?
We've raised a total of $6.15 million. And to give you an idea how this event has grown, when it first started back in 1992, it was actually at Cape Henlopen State Park. Back when it was small enough to be at Cape Henlopen State Park, we only had 78 people, and they raised $7,000. We were ecstatic. I mean, $7,000 is a lot of money for a fundraising event. And now all of a sudden we're up to $650,000 a year, $6.15 million over the 21 years. And so we're real thrilled that, it's a great community event. I always tell people it's one of those few fundraising events that is really family friendly for all generations. You have runs. You have to be athletic to run. You have to be in shape.
Right.
You have golf tournaments. You've got to be a golfer to be a golf tournament. You can't take your 5-year-old to a golf tournament.
Right.
The Polar Bear Plunge, you literally will see 3, 4, and 5 generations of families coming out and doing this event together. And that's what keeps it growing.
Basically, you have to have a tolerance for pain if it's very, very cold.
Yeah, it's cold. It's not painful. Like I said, I've done it 21 years, and it is cold, but it's not excruciating cold.
Okay.
In fact, you go in and you go out, and you're so pumped up because you're going in with all those people, and when you get out, you're really not even in a rush to get dried off and get dressed because, you feel so good about what you did for a great organization. Right. And people always ask, where's the money go? Well, it stays right here in the state of Delaware. 3,500 Special Olympics athletes, both children and adults, benefit from this Polar Bear Plunge. So it really is a great thing. And this year, Anthony, I don't know if you're a dog lover, we've got a pooch plunge.
Okay.
On Saturday at 11 o'clock, people can bring their dogs, and now they're not running into the ocean, and we want to be very clear about that.
Okay.
They're not running into the ocean. They will paddle, they will wade through dog pools or kiddie pools on the beach. And it's an opportunity for people who may not want to plunge themselves, but they've wanted to support the plunge. And as you know, being down from this area, the beach area is real big. A lot of people have dogs.
Yes, they do.
And
Everybody
so
has an animal.
we created this pooch plunge, which we think is going to be a big hit. But we do want to be very clear, we're not going to ask you to put your dog in the ocean.
Okay.
For $25, which is the registration fee, they're going to get a nice bandana with the Pooch Plunge logo on it, and a water bowl, portable water bowl. And most of all, they're going to support a great organization.
Now,
So-
how many kiddie pools will you have for the pooches?
Well, we're going to wait and see how many pooches sign up first.
Okay.
We're right around
Okay.
30 or 40 dogs right now. I can tell you right now we've got 3 little kiddie pools in our office right now.
Okay.
So I saw them today. I actually almost tripped over one when I was coming out of my office.
Okay.
So they are there. But anybody that's interested in being part of any of the events for Special Olympics for Plunge Weekend, they can go to our website. It's plungede.org. Plungede.org. That's where they go to sign up for all the events.
Now, the slogan is swim to be bold, get cold together, we can make a difference. Who came up with that?
I think that's one of those things that somebody came up with, and it's been smattered around social media and stuff like that. It's actually not an official slogan that we created, but I have seen it for polar bear plunges around the country, and people have used it here in the state of Delaware. So just another one of those social media, Twitter type of things. So, and people can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're on both.
Now, with the money raised from the Polar Bear Plunge, what are some of the type of the programs that are used throughout the year?
We have 20 sports that go on throughout the year. We have over 50 sports events. The people in Special Olympics participate in 20 sports year-round. They are children and adults with intellectual disabilities. They may have some other disability, but all of them have an intellectual disability. And it really is a great way for both kids and adults to be able to participate in sports, just like you and I did growing up. Our coaches are trained to work with our athletes. We take the sports very seriously. We follow rules. Our athletes get penalized if they don't follow the rules. And so it really is a neat organization that I got started with back when I was in college.
Now, if a parent has a child with special needs, how can they get involved?
The best way for them to get involved is to contact us directly. They can either call our office or go to the website, which is sode.org, or I always tell people just Google Special Olympics Delaware and it'll come right up. And they can contact our office and we'll put them in touch with the right people to get their child involved.
Now, what are ways that people can help Special Olympics? Are you looking for volunteers or donations?
Always looking for donations, like any nonprofit, but always looking for good volunteers as well. And on our website, there's a page dedicated just to volunteers where they can see the different opportunities that are there. We've never turned away a volunteer who really wanted to be involved, and we were able to find a niche for them at a time that is convenient for them. You know, now sometimes we'll get a phone call, hey, I want to coach tennis. I'm only available on Sundays from 2 to 3. Well, we may not have a team practicing on Sundays from 2 to 3, but if they give us some options, both in terms of sports and when they're available, we provide all the training. And so really it just needs to be somebody who wants to give back and wants to get involved with our athletes. We'll find something for them to do.
How many volunteers do you think you have at Special Olympics?
We estimate about 4,000, and that includes coaches, that includes program directors who run our programs, sports directors, it includes referees at our events, it includes people packing the lunches up for the athletes. So it includes people that will volunteer at the plunge in a couple of weeks on February 3rd. And so it really does encompass everything that we do, but we always estimate we have about 4,000 volunteers.
Now, the Polar Bear Plunge is your biggest fundraiser for Special Olympics, but what are some of the other fundraisers that you have throughout the year?
We have some typical fundraisers, like a couple golf tournaments, a couple runs, including the Run to the Plunge, which will be February 2nd down at Rehoboth Beach, the day before the actual plunge. Our neatest, well, I shouldn't say our neatest, our newest fundraising event might interest you, Anthony. It's a 17-story rappel down a building in Wilmington. It's called...
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find me on that.
It's called Over the Edge, and it will be in its 3rd year this May. And last year it raised over $100,000, and it literally, it is what it says. You rappel 17 stories down the 300 Delaware Avenue building up in Wilmington for Special Olympics. It'll be the 3rd year. The event sells out every year. We're limited to 100 people. Okay. So anybody who's listening tonight who is interested in doing Over the Edge should go to our website, sode.org, get the information now, and get signed up so they can start. It's a great event, exhilarating, very popular. A lot of people come back and do it year after year. The average around the country is a 5% repeat rate where somebody comes back. In Delaware, we have a 30% repeat rate. So I don't know whether people are a little crazier in Delaware or really is that much fun. But that's one of our neatest fundraising events that we have.
Who are some of the people that participated?
We've had some of our athletes who have participated. We've had some state police officers who have participated. We've had some representatives who have participated. We've had radio disc jockeys participate. We've had Special Olympics parents participate. And we've had people who knew nothing about Special Olympics, but they've always wanted to rappel down a building, and they realize this is their only chance to do it. And so they come out and do it. So we've had all kinds of people, all ages. Last year we had an 83-year-old man, one of our board members, rappelled 17 stories. In fact, he's done it both years. And he's
how
a plunger.
much money was raised again?
$100,000 each time. So great, just a great event. It's a unique event. And that's kind of the challenge for any nonprofit now, is to come up with a unique event that really is going to make a lot of money, but is also going to excite the public. And we think we've done that with the plunge, obviously, for 21 years, but also with this Over the Edge event.
Now back to the Polar Bear Plunge. Who came up with that idea?
Well, it was a guy by the name of Dave Frederick, who is a big name down in the beach area.
With the Cape Gazette.
With the Cape Gazette, and I think he was a teacher at Cape Henlopen High School.
Yes.
And he's known as the Bear. And he's like the president of the Lewis Polar Bear Club. And we approached them as some other Special Olympics programs started doing this Polar Bear Plunge. We approached them and asked them if they would dedicate one of their plunges to us, because they plunge the first Sunday in every month from November to March. And so we picked February. And so ever since then, it's just taken off. And that's why we call it the Lewis Polar Bear Plunge. It's in honor of the Lewis Polar Bear Club, which allowed us to become part of their event. And it's also in honor of that is where the event started, was in Lewis at Cape Henlopen Beach State Park, until we just outgrew that place. It's a smaller beach area than Rehoboth, obviously.
And tell the listeners when the Polar Bear Plunge
is going to be February 3rd, less than 2 weeks. I'm hoping it warms up a little bit before I have to go in the ocean. But we have a whole weekend of events starting Saturday and then into Sunday. The plunge is at 1 o'clock sharp. People can sign up now at plungede.org. They can also, if they want to wait and see what the weather is like that morning, they can come down that morning and sign up and go in the ocean then.
So what is the latest they can sign up?
They can come that morning and sign up that morning. The advantage of signing up ahead of time, and our pre-registration does end this Thursday online, is you get your sweatshirt when you arrive at the event. If you don't sign up before January 24th, you still get your sweatshirt. We just mail it to you afterwards.
Has Vice President Joe Biden ever participated?
No, he has not. The closest we've gotten to Joe Biden is Governor Markell has done it, and Senator John Carney has done it.
Okay.
So we've had two pretty high dignitaries in the state of Delaware who have done the plunge with us. So.
What about any local sports celebrities?
No
Joe Flacco.
No Joe Flacco. He's actually done Maryland's plunge.
Okay.
Now, he's not this year, obviously.
Right.
But he has done Maryland's plunge before. So, he's obviously down there supporting the Ravens fans doing the plunge with them. So, but he's a big supporter of Special Olympics.
Now, you've had some Miss Delawares participate also.
We have. We had Galen Giacone was one, and you told me the name of the other one, and you were right, and I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Heather Lehman.
Heather has done it, yep. In fact, Galen did it the year before she was Miss Delaware. She did it the year she was Miss Delaware, and she did it the year after she was Miss Delaware. So, some big supporters of Special Olympics, both before they're famous, when they're famous, and after they're famous.
And you were telling me next week's guest, Lissa Murray, most likely will be...
Somebody told me she's plunging, yes.
Participating.
Yep. Now, you have to ask her. Maybe you can put her on the spot and get her to sign the form while she's here. But,
okay.
She'll probably want to drag you in with her, though. So,
okay.
She is definitely a supporter of Special Olympics, and I've heard she's going to plunge. I can't confirm that, but maybe you can next week.
Yeah, I'll ask her next week. She's going to be a guest on the program.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a break. More to come with John Busby. We're live at Jimmy's Grill. And welcome back. I'm Anthony Joseph with John Busby. And John, now we're going to talk some basketball. As you get to cover for the ticket to 1290 AM, a lot of basketball games upstate, and you've got to see some of the top teams, Sanford and also St. Andrews. Mm-hmm. And then you have AI DuPont, undefeated at 10-0. Who do you think is the best team out of those three?
Well, Anthony, if you'd asked me this a week ago, heading into the game we were doing Tuesday night at Sanford, between Sanford and St. Andrews, I would have said Sanford's got to be the best team. They're a three-time state champion. They had 4 players back from the previous year. The 5th player, who was the only one who hadn't started the year before, according to Coach Stan Waterman, he told me he's the most improved player on the team. And so you'd have to figure, well, of course it's got to be Sanford. Well, Sanford got beat by St. Andrews, and it was only by a few points, but they actually got dominated in the second half. The game was not as close as the score indicated in the end. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, it's got to be St. Andrews. And then they go and lose to Wilmington Friends a couple days later. And so all of a sudden you got a toss-up, and our number one team is AI DuPont, undefeated. And they're the only undefeated team in Delaware. And every other team that's got a loss, at least a loss, has lost to another Delaware team. You know, it's one thing if you've got a loss, but it's to some powerhouse in Pennsylvania,
right,
you know, or something like that, or you played in a big Christmas tournament. But when you're 10-0, like AI DuPont is, you know, they're the number one team until somebody knocks them off. Now, I think the best team in the state of Delaware is Sanford, for the reasons I just talked about. They've got quickness, they've got height, they can shoot from the outside, they can score on the inside, they can play a half-court game, and they can run up and down the floor. And they're the only team I've seen, and I've seen of our top 6 or 7 teams, I've seen all 6 or 7 of those teams play. And they're the only team that can do all of that. St. Andrews is good. They've got this kid, Ben Bentil, who, as I said on the air, reminds me of Hakeem Olajuwon. He's that big. He's built like he's a college junior, and he's being recruited as a center by the likes of Georgetown, St. Joe's, Delaware, and a bunch of other schools. And he is big and he's athletic. And when he gets the ball inside, he can get a good, easy shot off. Doesn't go in all the time, but he can get the shot off. And that is the key thing. And I don't think anybody in the state's got anybody who can cover him one-on-one. But, again, the key is to get them the ball. Last year, St. Andrews was a 2-person team with Austin Tillman and Ben Bentil. This year they've added a kid named Jordan Bonner, who's a sophomore from Houston, Texas. And he lit up the three-point line on Tuesday when we saw him. And his coach, Tyrell Myers, told me before the season, he said, Bonner is what's going to take us from being a good team to a great team. And I saw that. So if I had to pick a team that's going to win the state championship, I'd have to say it's going to be Sanford again. But unlike the past couple of years, I think we've got some other legitimate teams. You know, the beauty of March Madness, whether it's the NCAA or the state of Delaware, it's not a playoff. You get one chance. It's a state tournament, one and you're done. And so Sanford has shown they can be knocked off. And I think AI could beat them. I think St. Andrews could beat them. I think Howard can beat them. The question is whether they can beat them in the state tournament when it really counts.
Now you're talking about Ben T was being looked at the University of Delaware in Georgetown. How much of a shot does University of Delaware men's basketball have at signing him?
You know, I think anytime, and this has been proven over the years, anytime there has been a player in the state of Delaware that is a legitimate top 20 program Division I prospect, other than it being Elena Daladon, they're not going to stay in state. And we've seen it on the girls' side, and we've seen it on the boys' side. And, you know, part of me, you can't blame them in a way. You know, they need to go to a program that's going to challenge them to the next level. You know, there's a reason why these big-time programs are big-time programs. It's because they get the big-time players. And so I'm not going to be surprised at all if Ben Bentil goes out of state, whether it's St. Joe's or Georgetown or someplace like that. He's being recruited as a center. I think he can play the power forward position. He's that quick. In his game last Tuesday, he was dribbling the ball. He brought the ball up as a point guard a few times. Now, he's not on the level of a Magic Johnson at 6'9" and able to handle the ball, but he can definitely handle the ball. And remember, Anthony, this kid's only a junior. He's got another year of high school basketball before he'll even head off to college. But my guess is he will go somewhere other than the University of Delaware.
Now, being 6'9", wouldn't be the appealing thing for him that most likely he would start right away? Because I was watching Georgetown last night take on Notre Dame, and Georgetown was victorious. They have a lot of freshmen, so most likely he's going to not get a lot of playing time in his first year.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to weigh all those things in. Remember, this is a kid also who's at a private boarding school. That's academic focused, and so going to a school like a Georgetown, he may not play basketball his first year or two, but he's getting that education that is a top education. Basketball is not Georgetown's not a basketball factory. It's a high academic school, and so I think I can imagine he and his family are looking at those things as well when they decide where he's going to go to college. Sure, basketball is going to play a big part of that. Every kid wants to play. But my guess is if he can go to a school like Georgetown, which, let's face it, if you want it to be academically, it's just a step below an Ivy League school in a lot of ways, and play basketball versus going to another school that might not have the academic program Georgetown does, but he could play right away. typically a kid that's coming out of Sanford is going to pick that school that's got a higher academic reputation, even if it means their sports career might be put on hold a little bit.
Right, and Sanford will have a rematch with St. Andrews, I believe, in February.
Yeah, they do, coming up, and I won't be at that game because I'll be out of town, but that's going to be interesting to see. Last year, the only game Sanford lost was at St. Andrews, and they went on to win their third state championship. So they only played once during the regular season last year, and they didn't meet in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see the adjustments. Stan Waterman's won 5 state championships in his 20-plus years as a coach. He understands the tactical part of basketball, and I guarantee you that loss bugged him to death. And he's going to come back with a game plan in a couple of weeks to try to beat that St. Andrews team and prove to his team so they have the confidence in the state tournament in case they face them again. It's tough when you lose twice to a team and face them for a third time mentally to think you can beat them. It's different when you split.
And both should be a high seed, most likely.
I would think so at this point. I would think they're both going to be somewhere 1 through 5 at this point, so they wouldn't meet until the semifinals or the finals, most likely.
Right, and a team that I've got to see a couple times, the Polytech Panthers. They're 9-2. They hammered Indian River last week. They won at least by 30. Mm-hmm. Tonight's a big showdown in Lewis against the Cape Vikings. Mm-hmm. Henlopen South against the Henlopen North. And we'll see who prevails in that matchup.
Yeah, when we're on the air during our pregame show, Polytech's been in our top 10 every time. They're number 8 right now. And we always call them the best team south of St. Andrews. And so we'll see how they do. And, nobody likes to see one part of the state dominate a sport, no matter what it is. And so hopefully Polytech is able to represent Kent and Sussex County well in the sport of basketball. There's some people talking about Cape Henlopen as well. Are they good enough to play with some of the teams upstate? And so I hope they do well. Polytech has lost in the past 3 years 2 Division I players. Miles, who now plays at Ryder, and Lasker, who plays at Loyola. So, talk about building a pretty good program. They've lost 2 Division I players, and they're still in the top 10 in the state of Delaware. So they're doing a nice job there.
And they're very young because they have some height. Devon Mallory, he's a sophomore at 6'5". Mm-hmm. And then they have Jawan Gray. He's 6'4", and he's just a sophomore. So they have a lot of youth returning next year, and you would think that they have a good chance to maybe, as they get older, to maybe get to the state championship.
Yeah, and any time that you're in a position like Polytech where you're young and you're still doing as well as they're doing, that's only going to benefit you down the road. I'm sure right now that Coach Pierce is thinking, look, if we can get into the state tournament, maybe win a first-round game, get to the second round, who knows, maybe you get to that quarterfinal in the Bob Carpenter Center. Think about that experience those kids are going to have coming back next year when they're juniors and seniors and they're that much further along. So again, Pierce has done a real nice job building that program there. He knows what he's doing, and sometimes you have to take a step back before you can take that ultimate step, and I'm sure that's what he's hoping is going to happen there.
And tonight's matchup could be a preview of the conference championship at the end of the regular season between the Vikings and the Panthers.
Yeah, and that's going to be an exciting game, and that might be the difference come that time between one team getting in the playoffs and one team not getting in the playoffs. Who knows? And
want to make sure that people know that the game of the week is going to be on Friday between the Polytech Panthers 9-2 and the 4-6 Seaford Blue Jays. 6 o'clock pregame, 6:15 start time. Now moving along, I want to talk about the University of Delaware football team, as they now have a new head coach, Dave Brock. He's the former offensive coordinator from Rutgers. But a lot of people are confused saying, well, where's Coach Casey Keeler? Because all he did when he was at University of Delaware, he went to 3 finals. He won won a Division I championship, and he had a lot of wins. And he's going.
Yeah, he had a lot of wins, but if you look at his overall record, Anthony, in terms of overall performance of his teams in 11 years, yes, they were in 3 national title games. They made the first round of the playoffs a 4th time. The other 7, they didn't make the playoffs. And so I think, the fan base at the University of Delaware for years, whether it was Bill Murray, Dave Nelson, Tubby Raymond, Casey Keeler, and now Dave Brock, what they've wanted in their football program is consistency. And, I was a student during the Tubby Raymond era and then followed him, throughout. And I always remember every year, with very few exceptions, the Blue Hens were in the hunt for the playoffs up until the very last week. Well, during the Keeler era, those 7 years I just referred to when they didn't make the playoffs, if people look back and look at that, in a lot of those years, we were out of the playoffs before Halloween. I mean, the reality of it was we had 3 or 4 losses and knew we weren't making the playoffs. Attendance has dropped. They've gone from 22,000 a year when Keeler first got here to 17,000 a year.
Now, the one thing about the attendance, I think the prices have gone up. So I don't know if you can necessarily blame Coach Casey Keeler.
Well, no, I'm not saying you necessarily blame Coach Keeler. There's a lot of things that went into the attendance drop. The way they handled a season ticket policy, how people now have to pay a small PSL to get their season tickets, the way they marketed it to it. And remember, you're talking about a fan base that spans 4 or 5 generations. I mean, I know fans who are literally 80, 85, 90 years old who, when they slapped that PSL on them, said, well, we're not coming back. I also think there was no love lost, and I wrote about this in my New York Post column, between the fans and Casey Keeler in a lot of cases. Remember, we had Tubby Raymond. Unless you were a true Delawarean, you didn't know who Tubby Raymond was, as good as he was. You didn't see him in commercials. You didn't see him on posters. You didn't see him in other places. Casey Keeler was very confident, is the best way to put it. And all these coaches are. All these big-time coaches are confident. But it's how you come across, I think, is the biggest thing. And so I think a lot of fans were not enamored with him and how he handled himself to some of the fans, and you know, I know a lot of people agree with me. That's the feedback I got, and you know, some other people have written about the same thing. And so, you know, I think it was time for a change. And I've talked to some other people intimately involved in Delaware athletics, both at the university and, you know, the touchdown club and those types of things, and they agree. They think it was time. There was a need for a change. It's a shame because Casey Keeler bled blue and gold. And that was the great thing about him. He wanted nothing more than to win championships for the University of Delaware, where he played. And he wasn't able to do it other than that one year.
And his last year, 5-6 overall, but he had a lot of injuries. Andrew Pierce and also his transfer quarterback, Trent Hurley. And I think the development of him, or the lack of, really led to the down year that they had.
Yeah, I agree. You know, there's no doubt about it. We were banged up. We were banged up last year. We were banged up, you know, and that's, you know, I don't think there's a lot, you know, people always say, well, what are they doing, strength and conditioning wise, and that type of thing. You know, a lot of these are freak injuries. They happen. You're playing football. They're going to happen. I don't think this season defined Casey Keeler getting his job or not. I think it was the total package, and I think it was a combination of things. You know, the graduation rate has gone down a little bit since he got here. The wins, the not winning, and the attendance. And I think Eric Ziadi, the new athletic director who came in from Boston College, I think he was charged with, we need to fix this football program. And he decided, like a lot of times that happens in the NFL, if we're going to fix the program, somebody's got to take the fall, and it's usually the head coach that takes the fall. Was it all Casey Keeler's fault? Absolutely not. Nice guy, loved the University of Delaware. I just think it was time for a change, and obviously some others thought the same.
What are your thoughts on Dave Brock being the new head coach?
I'm impressed so far, but I haven't seen a football game that he's coached. You know, the bottom line is, and we were talking about this in the media room at the Delaware basketball game the other day, we all want him to do well. You know, now he's not a Delaware guy. He didn't play here. He's never coached here. In fact, his closest affiliation is Kyle Flood, the head coach at Rutgers, coached here. But you know, as I wrote in my article, remember the last 5 coaches at Delaware have been Bill Murray, Dave Nelson, Tubby Raymond, Casey Keeler. Only one of those guys played at Delaware. He's the one that just got fired. The other 3 are in the Hall of Fame. And I think the best example we can have that it doesn't have to be a Delaware coach to be successful at Delaware is what happened at Penn State. Bill O'Brien, no affiliation to Penn State whatsoever. Went up there, started winning games, has kept that program together. Fans love him. And I think the same thing can happen with Dave Brock if he comes in here and he gets the support. And, you know, we all hope he does well. Fans have to give him a chance.
Now he has coached some profile football players, Akeem Nicks and also Jordy Nelson from the Green Bay Packers. Nicks plays with the Giants.
Right. Yep. Yeah. You know, he's coached some big names, just like Keeler had coached some big names. Tubby Raymond had coached some big names, and you know that's all part of it. And you know, people who read the message boards, a lot of the Rutgers fans were happy that Brock left Rutgers. You know, he didn't have a good ending to this year. The team was 9-4, but the offense only scored 4 touchdowns in the last 4 regular season games and didn't score a touchdown at all on offense in the bowl. not exactly the kind of resume you want to come in with. But he was very successful as an offensive coordinator at Kansas State. So you can't always look at what they've done in their coaching positions, because that has a lot to do with the players that you have. You know, if you've got great players, you're going to do well. If you have some off years or a lot of injuries like Delaware had, you're going to have some down years. And so I hope Dave Brock does well. I think he's coming into this with the right attitude. You know, he said right away in his press conference, I know you need to develop trust for me, and I'm here to develop that trust, because he's not a blue hen. So he's saying the right things.
Right, okay. John, before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I've enjoyed being down here. It's always fun talking high school hoops, University of Delaware. I know there's a lot of Ravens fans down here. Let's go Ravens. Let's get another Delaware quarterback in the Super Bowl. The only FCS college to have two quarterbacks start in the Super Bowl, University of Delaware. Rich Gannon in 2003, and now Joe Flacco. So something to be proud of.
And Gannon, a former NFL MVP, and Flacco maybe one day will achieve that. You never know.
Yeah, let's hope he gets the Super Bowl MVP, something Rich Gannon wasn't able to do.
Yes,
that'll mean the Ravens won.
Yes, that's very true. And plus, Flacco's in his final year of his contract, so he's looking for a big payday.
Yes, I think so. A lot of people criticized him for not signing last summer, and it looked like there for a while, especially the latter part of the season, maybe he made a mistake when they weren't playing so well. All of a sudden, his value quadrupled from the last game of the regular season to what it is right now.
It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens taking on the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
And a brother battle.
Yeah,
John and Jim.
Yep, should be a great one. It's one of those games, no matter who wins, if you're the casual fan, it's going to be fun to watch. But, of course, we're all rooting for Joe Flacco down here in Southern Delaware.
And you're working on a Flacco story.
I am, yeah. I've been working on a little twist. We're going to have in the Newark Post, we're going to have a Super Bowl special. And I'm trying to take a little bit different approach. I've talked to Scott Bruner, who former Blue Hen who played for the Giants. I've talked to one of Joe Flacco's cousins who's studying abroad and got some thoughts from her. Some people from the University of Delaware Athletic Department I've talked to. President of the Blue Hen Touchdown Club, Harold Smith. So I've got a lot of different viewpoints, and it's all focused on what they thought about Joe Flacco when he was here at the University of Delaware, and it's amazing how much Joe hasn't changed.
It's been good talking sports with you, John. Also, for the people, the Polar Bear Plunge is February the 3rd at 1 o'clock. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just again, February 2nd and 3rd, there's all kinds of stuff. The Plunge, as you said, is actually on February 3rd at 1 o'clock. PlungeDE.org is the website you can go to find out everything you need to know.
And once again, that was John Busby, Director of Media Relations at Special Olympics Delaware. More to come live at Jimmy's Grill. We'll be back after this.
Hey everybody, Jim Weller. We are back live at Jimmy's Grill. Boy, it has been a very eventful night. We've had a lot of people come and go, and a lot of good information. The polar bear plunge thing got me really interested in letting Colin and Brooks do it. So anyway, I got a couple good friends of mine here, and I want to introduce them. Ladybug Pest Management. And just what town you from?
Delmar, Delaware.
And we got Frank and Sandy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Frank, Sandy.
That's right.
All
Yes.
right. Well, what is Ladybug Pest Management? In other words, do you manage other pest control companies?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Ladybug Pest Management. We are located in Delmar, Delaware.
Okay.
We're a family-owned, husband and wife
Okay.
business. We're going into our 4th year, so we're very
Wow,
excited.
very
Yes,
good.
that's right.
That's
Started
quite
in
an
a,
accomplishment just in itself, isn't it?
Exactly, it really is. God's been good,
Yes.
and we appreciate that. But we are a pest management company, and
Okay.
we are a full-service residential and commercial. A lot of our work right now has to do with bed bugs. We just really wanted to bring
Bed
that to
bugs.
yeah, bed bugs. Wanted
Now,
to
a
bring
bed bug, are they only just in hotels?
No, Jim.
Okay,
Bed bugs.
so people can have them at home.
Correct.
Okay, do you have to have a permit to have these?
No, but you need to know what to do if you do have
Okay.
them. Or better yet, you need to know what to do
Now-
to prevent them.
Okay, before you figure out that somebody has them, what is a sign that somebody would have that a person's mind would even say, I might have bed bugs?
The very first thing we get from folks is we're getting bit. We're getting bit by something, but we don't know what it is.
Okay, so it's not something they can see.
If they knew what they were really looking for, they probably could find them. But,
Okay.
but there again, this is such an elusive pest. When they actually lay their eggs, they are almost microscopic. They are
Really?
the tip
Very
of a
tiny.
pencil, very small, very translucent. So they're very hard to detect in that form. And even when they grow and develop from the egg to the adult size, which is about a little less than a 1/4 inch, is the adult. Almost like a tick.
Are they always in a bed?
No, they're
Maybe.
not. No. They're
So they
not-
could be in your carpet?
They
They
could
could be
be.
in carpet. They could be. They're going to be towards the head of the bed. Most of
Okay.
them are going to be in the bed.
Okay.
But it, depending on the level of infestation, they could spread to the
Really?
bureau, to the carpet. We found them in, or the dogs have found them in drawer tracks of the bureau, places that we would never look. The dogs have pinpointed them.
Really?
Yeah, so the dogs
When you
are
say
really.
dogs, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. We have two canine scent detection dogs that are certified to
find a bed
Yep,
bug.
to find a bed bug.
hunt out and find bed bugs.
How did you get these dogs?
Well, I had a friend that was a trainer for a large.
Of this?
Yes, that was a trainer for dogs for a large pest control company.
Really?
And, yeah, and we had initially a stray came up to a house. It was like a diamond in the rough. I never had planned to have this dog do bed bug work.
Right.
I have to interrupt you. I just realized I got a commercial break.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's
All
okay,
right.
sorry.
So anyway, hold on, folks. I got to learn more about this dog that can find bed bugs. In other words, so stay tuned. Call somebody and tell them to tune in. This is going to get real good here in just a minute. We're going to take a commercial break. Hold tight. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, Jim Weller. We are back live at Jimmy's Grill. Just letting you know, if you want to come on down, if you've already had dinner and you want to get some dessert, come right on down. There's plenty of pies and cakes and goodies out there. But we left off talking about Ladybug Pest Management. And then they started talking about a dog that actually can find bed bugs. And that piqued my interest, so now I need to hear more about this. Is there a lot of these in Lower Delaware?
There are not a lot of bedbug dogs in Delaware that we know of. As far as we know, our dogs' names are Daisy and Dolly. They are Delmarva's own, Daisy and Dolly. That's who they're known by over in Ocean City. And they, like I said, they are pretty much the only ones that are certified. We have our dogs certified by a third-party independent agency twice a year. So to make sure, they're still doing what they're supposed to be doing, but we're also supposed to be doing what we're doing. So, but they've been wonderful.
But I would think you would have an advantage over other pest control companies.
Oh, absolutely.
In other words, you're offering more service.
More service. The dogs are 95% accurate as opposed to humans are only about 30%. And they're fast. They can come in and clear a room like this in 2 minutes.
Really?
Minutes,
Yep.
And for us to come in here and look for bed bugs.
You could be hours.
You could be hours.
Yep.
And the dogs aren't 100%. We never bill them at 100%. But they've been really good at what they've trained to do.
Yeah,
And
that's wonderful.
What a great thing to offer your customers. It's
Exactly.
just, what a great service, in other words, because it makes the whole, in other words, probably nobody wants to spend money fighting bed bugs, but you make it a lot more affordable.
Sure.
Because you can get to it and get on with it much quicker.
We can bring the dogs in, and dogs will go, oh, there they are. As opposed to us, taking an hour or two, looking around, maybe finding them, maybe not. And we use 2 dogs. One dog confirms the other dog's alert. And we only charge for 1 dog.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's been a big
Did you
advantage
train
to
them?
us. No, we didn't train them.
Okay.
We have
Somebody trains them.
somebody trains them. We had a master trainer
Yep.
Okay.
train them who has over 25 years experience training police dogs, cadaver dogs, drug dogs.
Okay.
And he just got into the bed bug end of it, and it's been real successful.
Were you both sold on the idea of buying a bed bug dog, or did one of the two of you have to talk the other one into it?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Okay.
It took a little persuasion for me because I was like, I've not heard a lot about this, which we didn't hear a lot about. These dogs have really only come on the scene since maybe 2007 as far as, correct me if I'm wrong. So it was a new thing, but the more I studied
new
it.
technology.
Yeah, but actually,
Exactly.
and we love dogs, and don't get us wrong, these dogs, they're not stuck out in a, they're part of our family as well.
Yeah.
They certainly, their restrictions on eating and training are totally different. But, we love the dogs too. So they're not just employees, they're our pets too, our family. But,
you haven't had any labor disputes with the dog where they're upset with how you're treating them?
Well, I think sometimes they want a little bit more bonus, like Chef Michael's instead of, Alpo or something. So.
Okay.
But one thing I did want to get in here,
Okay.
Jim, because I think this is good. A big part of Ladybug Pest Management, too, with bed bugs or any pest, we like to educate. And we like to help folks. We're in business to make money, but still, we get a lot of emails from our website, which you can go to ladybugpm.com and send us an email if you have a question tonight. We're happy to answer any questions, about bugs.
So if a person's not even a customer,
Exactly.
they can shoot you an email about pest control in general.
And I
Okay.
guarantee you, we get back to you. We like to educate. We train a lot of the housekeeping. Now, these are our clients, but we've done it for other places as well, workshops about bed bugs or about pests.
Okay.
But it's been a big thing, even in Seaford. A lot of the apartment complexes are, coming on board, and they're having workshops about bed bugs because you can imagine apartments.
And how to be a good neighbor.
Well, exactly.
Sure.
In other words,
exactly.
if your house is connected to
That's
this
right.
house and there's 2
Absolutely.
upstairs and 2 downstairs,
Absolutely.
everybody needs to be a good
Right.
neighbor
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to offer as
Okay.
a free thing is, and this is a great little resource, it's a pocket card. And what it is, very well done. We've had these done up, bed bugs. What travelers need to know about bed bugs, and we all travel. We all stay at hotels, and not saying, I know you go up to Lancaster a lot and probably in nice places, but it's still worth it, Jim, when you go in, you and Denise go in, that you pull back that bedding from that bed and you look and see if you see any signs, and I'm going to give you some cards.
Okay.
And any of the viewers that would like to have one of these cards for their pocket, for their wallet, you email me. and I'll make sure you get them.
What's your email address?
My email, ladybugpm@comcast.net.
Wow.
ladybugpm@comcast.net.
So this
It's
is
a
like
great
a traveler's
resource.
guide.
It's a traveler's
How
guide.
to be on the lookout. Now,
Yeah.
in all honesty, what happens if you rent a hotel room and you find a bed bug? And the manager's like, you're crazy.
Well, they shouldn't be. I tell you what, managers are getting a lot smarter. They shouldn't be saying that. You want to, they should be very sympathetic. They should be, they should move you to another room, preferably on another floor. But and a lot of times, I know the hotels we work with, they are very good. They have a bed bug action plan. The first thing you ought to do, when you travel again, when you go to check in, you ask them at the front desk. Just wanted to ask you. You guys have a bed bug action plan. What happens if I find bed bugs? Just see what they say. If they look at you like a deer, deer in the headlights, or we've never had any problems with bed bugs. Maybe you ought to start asking more questions or stay somewhere else.
Isn't that something?
But,
Or you might just want to ask them, have you had any bite reports?
Okay.
And they have to be honest with you. If they're not honest, you don't want to stay there.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct? And it doesn't matter how nice the place is or how
Right. Bed bugs, I mean,
know.
they don't play any favorites.
No, absolutely
That's right.
not.
They do not
and
discriminate.
They don't grow there. They're brought in.
Right.
They're hitchhikers.
Hitchhikers.
Yeah.
So, and it's a big problem here, believe it or not, on the Eastern Shore. It's not.
Is it because we have so many visitors come and go?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, the transient
Absolutely.
population in Ocean City. And I don't want to pick on Ocean City. It's any beach resort. It's any heavily that has the
And the turn
influx.
is every week.
It's
Or
sometimes
every 3 or 4
day.
days.
Exactly.
Even every
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just one person, but groups of people.
Right.
Right, exactly. And sometimes you'll have, too, employees, that a lot of times we get, different foreign employees and whatnot, and that maybe don't speak as well the language and aren't educated. That's what we try to do. We even have bed bug literature for our Hispanic friends, and we can get it in other languages. But a lot, we even have one incident where, the hotel, nice hotel, the employee said she felt like she got bed bugs at home at her apartment from her work. The GM was grateful enough to have us go and check out her home. Lo and behold, we kind of figure it was the other way around. She probably brought them from her home to the hotel, whether she knew or not. But they took care of her home, her apartment, and shortly thereafter she ended up quitting. So it kind of, but it can happen. They can come in, in a pocketbook and whatever.
Now, do you find more bed bugs in Republicans or Democrats?
I'm not gonna touch that one.
I don't think we'll touch that one.
Just curious.
I
didn't
like
know. So they cross party lines.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly,
Just messing with you. Hey, are you on Facebook?
Yes, and we are on Facebook now. Right now, Sandy Honus.
Okay.
Sandy Honus, you friend me, I'll friend you.
Okay.
But we do have a Ladybug Pest Management. We have a page, so please try to get to that too. To
Okay.
get some likes. That we would appreciate that.
All right. So people can like you on Facebook.
Yes.
They can also friend you on Facebook.
Yes.
They can check you out on the website.
That's correct.
All right. Do you use telephones too?
Yes, we have
All right.
telephone. We still
What's your
have
number?
telephone. And we still have a landline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 302-846-2295. 302-846-2295. But really, email me any question, and I'll be happy to answer it.
Now,
Any bug.
besides bed bugs,
Yes.
if people have ants or crickets, or
Absolutely.
if they just want to get on a monthly or yearly maintenance plan, you can handle whatever.
We offer an IPM general pest control contract.
Okay.
We even do termites. And general pests consist of ants, roaches, flies,
Okay.
your common beetles, spiders.
Black widows have been
We have
bad.
Yes.
a lot of black widows this year. A lot of black widow jobs, and
I had a
they're
porch
nothing to
built.
fool
There was a
with.
bunch of them under a rock or something.
Yeah.
Black widows and brown recluses are nothing to fool with.
Exactly.
Wow.
They're actually dangerous.
Really?
Yeah. So
I had my wife clean them up. She did fine.
well,
No, I'm just kidding.
It's good.
Contractor found them,
That's
so
right. That's
yeah.
right. Good.
Wow. All right. And how long you been in business? 4 years. I would
years.
say that's
4
quite an
years.
accomplishment when you figure from today 4 years backwards would
With
be
this
a very
economy.
hard time to go in business.
yes,
Exactly.
with this economy, it's like Sandy said, it's been a blessing. It's to maintain a business in this economic.
But, a husband and wife team, I got a feeling you're both hard workers.
Yes.
In other words, you're not relying on your employees to show up on time or
Correct.
the quality of work they're going to do. they
Their
get the
integrity.
same time. Right. Right.
Exactly,
Yep.
yeah.
So, well, anything else you want to say in closing?
I can't think of anything, Jim. I
Okay.
appreciate, thank you for
Oh, you're
calling
welcome.
us
Yeah,
to
thank
come
you
over
for
and
Thanks for
your
coming.
time.
We really want to support
Yep.
the station.
Yep.
The
Well,
show.
I hope we can send you some business, and maybe if people got some questions or
Okay.
something like that, and you're just saying feel free to,
Yes.
to email you any questions and get one of these little cards and so on. All right. Well, thank you both very
Okay,
much.
Thank you.
Jim.
All right. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and then I'll be back, and we're going to finish up the show. So hold tight. Boom. We're back.
You're waiting for something big to happen?
Yeah,
Did you
I
notice
was.
it was snowing outside?
No
I
way.
didn't either.
It's because it's not snowing outside.
I did notice my mic wasn't on, though.
Okay. Did you see the snow last night?
I did see it.
It was unreal. I was all excited. I was thinking, man, are we going to open tomorrow, not open tomorrow? What's going to happen? But we've had a really good night. I mean, I
It
thought we
was.
had some really good guests and
Yep.
a lot of good information. And want to encourage people to, check them all out. And you can join the Polar Bear Plunge. You can donate to the food bank. And you can see if you've got bed bugs or not. So what a night.
What a night. Okay, so, well, we got a couple minutes here.
Okay.
You mentioned Polar Bear Plunge.
Yes, I did.
What do you think?
What was the question?
Should Catch It Live broadcast the Polar Bear Plunge live?
Here's my only thing.
Okay.
If you do it, you can't do it just from the land. Somebody's got to be out in the water
With a camera.
catching it both ways. Because going out, they're all smiling, they're all excited, and the minute they get in the water, their whole facial expression changes.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
You need somebody that's sturdy, that if
Tall.
all the people running by doesn't knock them down.
Taller than me.
So, yeah, somebody
So, like,
that just
Young, somebody
Probably-
under 35.
Yep, probably played football or something like that, so he knows how to block them and things like that. So, I mean, do we know anybody like that?
If he's sizable,
Yeah.
he could have enough body fat to insulate himself, to not be cold.
All right.
I don't know anyway.
I didn't want to go down that road. So you're taking it where I didn't want to go.
Okay.
But anyway.
But now that we're there, you might want to chime in.
Anyway,
Okay.
I was thinking.
Forget the body fat part.
Okay.
He could be as thin as a rail. What are you saying? We're going to finally let Brooks do something?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Brooks would be a great candidate for this.
All right, Brooks.
So, but we do have an intern, and interns. This is like the specialty of interns to do.
And it's the
like
kind
this.
of thing that as you're going through high school, you start telling girls, "Hey, I was the guy out in the water doing the polar bear plunge."
That's right.
Doing the video, and
I mean, that's really impressive.
pretty macho.
It is.
Yeah. So we have Grant and Brooks, who we are going to nominate. Would you like to nominate him, and I'll second it?
Okay. Plus, you need somebody young with a strong heart, because when you hit that cold water, it
Yep. Kind of makes your muscles contract.
yeah. So
we need. Is this a survey question? We need to hear from our audience.
yes.
Do you think? You know who we left out of this equation? There's a third party here. Who is
He will not even make eye
feeling left
contact
out
with me
right about now.
He doesn't even want to make eye contact with me right now.
Anthony Joseph.
Live and local.
Live
World famous.
and local. Get him out there in the water. I think it'd be good. And what I'll do is I'll see to it that the plug on the heater doesn't get unplugged.
Okay.
Is what I'll do. So we need to hear from you,
Yes.
audience. Do you think we should or shouldn't stream the polar bear plunge? Have you ever seen it? Have you ever been there? Would you watch it if we did it?
And if you would like to watch it,
Yes.
and possibly would want to help underwrite it,
Well, let's do this. What is it called? $10 a holler.
$10 a holla.
Holla. So what we're saying is, so we'll throw that out there anyway.
Yeah.
If you want to buy an ad in our show, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 a week or whatever, we're going to do that on a kind of ongoing basis. Could we agree on that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you own a business or have something you would like promoted, and here's the one big thing we want to share with you. If you buy an ad in our show, not only does it get heard and seen right now, but every single time anybody ever goes back to our website and watches that program again, it gets seen again. It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Let me tell you what.
Yes.
Sunday was a great value for the people that bought ads in that.
Yes, because I'm thinking we must have had 40 or 50 people come back and watch the program.
Yeah, I think we had a lot more than that.
Like maybe hundreds?
Hundreds upon hundreds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you were fortunate enough to buy an ad in our Sunday program when we streamed the Second Amendment rally in Dover, you definitely got a lot of views on your ads. And it's just Tuesday.
Right.
Can you imagine 2 or 3 years from now?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we want to let you know if you're watching and you have an interest in buying an ad in the program, you might want to buy 2 or 3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We could even do something if you got an anniversary coming up or a birthday or something like that.
Just to mention, a holler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, $10 each time we say it. So and you can pick how many times we say it. So but that's good. We want to know, do you think we should do the polar bear plunge? Would you watch it? Would you rather watch it down on the beach or would you rather watch it from home? So we're asking for your input on that. So please, my email address is jim@wellers.com. Shoot me an email and tell us what you think. I'm looking for some new friends on Facebook. I can't seem to break that 2,000 mark. So just need a few more. So
That's
if anybody,
because you say such radical stuff that people
that's true.
unfriend you every time.
It's
you get
unbelievable.
close.
Yeah, but you need to friend me just for that reason, just to see what radical I'm going to say. So anyway, what else we got? Can I mention the Academy Thrift Store one
Yes,
more
please.
time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a building I have up in Greenwood, and my church, Eagles Nest Church, has opened a thrift store there. It's been there almost a year, almost celebrating a year. Wow. It's called the Academy Thrift Store. They have furniture, they have clothing, they have appliances, they have toys, they have all kinds of kids' things and stuff like that. Phone number 349-5454, 349-5454. They're right on Route 13 on the southbound side, right next to the Case Equipment Place, which is called Folcomer Equipment. Other than that, that's all I really got. We're going to be back here Friday morning. You got any basketball games this week?
We've got a basketball game that's scheduled for Friday night,
Okay.
but they're calling for a storm to come in Friday night. So
Okay.
we're kind of got it tentatively scheduled right now. So
Okay.
if it looks like we're going to have a big storm, then we're going to broadcast the Milford versus Sussex Central. Caesar Rodney. Milford versus Caesar Rodney versus Milford. It's at Milford.
Okay.
Caesar Rodney will be coming in to play them.
Okay.
The Friday game is what?
Polytech
Polytech and Seaford at Seaford.
At Seaford.
If it looks like the weather's going to hold out, but we have to get a game in this week because we missed a game last week
Okay.
because of the weather.
Okay.
So it was postponed. So
All right. And then before Friday night, we're going to do Friday morning here with Dan Gaffney.
right.
Dan Gaffney does his show live. He does a live radio show here at Jimmy's Grill for 105.9, Delaware 105.9, newest, greatest radio station in Delaware.
It is.
And then we stream the show, so you can watch Dan do the show and watch us and see who's on and so on. So we have a lot going on, and then we're debating whether to do the polar bear plunge. So
Can I give you a little side note about Delaware 105.9, the news station? The general manager told me they have 12 radio stations, Delmarva Broadcasting.
Okay.
And before 105.9 ever went on the air, Delaware 105.9
Because it's a brand new station.
Right.
Created right from scratch.
It was number 3 in sales out of all 12
Number
of their
3.
stations.
Isn't that something?
Before it ever went on the air.
Before it ever went on the air. That's a pretty good accomplishment, isn't it?
That's
kind of like before you ever open your doors, you're doing plenty of billing. But
Yeah.
but they do get results for their customers.
Absolutely.
I'm a customer. I kind
I
of
am
like
too.
being involved
Yep.
with it. And Dan Gaffney and Susan Monday and Jared Morris and Mark Fowler and that whole group just does a great job. It's kind of really encouraging.
Deaver.
Rich Deaver, yes.
Yeah.
Forgot about him.
Don't forget Rich Deaver.
Sorry, Rich.
And then
I was waiting for Colin.
Norm
to say it.
Short on
Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings, yeah.
Yeah, slower, lower.
Slower, lower. Norm Short.
Yeah. So
But
but 105.9 does a good job. He's from Harrington.
Harrington. Yep.
So, all right. Well, anyway, other than that, I guess if you're cold out and you need a heater, I got heaters, and if you need gas, you got gas.
I have gas. BringMeGas.com.
And,
Delivered
so,
to your doorstep
right to your doorstep.
or to your heater, wherever.
Or to your heater.
Yeah.
Yep. So Colin will take care of you. I guess if your car's not running right,
Wall
get
Service
it on
Center.
in there.
Yep. Call us,
Especially-
422-8110. Brooks has got a whole list of like $6,000 worth of work he wants me to do on his vehicle.
His van.
Yeah. On the left front of his van.
All right.
Just
We do want
messing
to
with you,
thank Brooks Ritter. He is our executive producer. Without him, these things would not be possible.
Not at all. Not at all.
And now he has an intern. Grant has been doing a really good job. This is his 3rd or 4th week of coming around.
Guess what Grant's doing tonight? Grant is working the cameras. So he's
Is he
switching
really?
from that camera to that camera to that camera.
Ooh.
He's taking care of all that.
Okay.
And then he's bringing the commercials up as they need. Brooks plays the commercials, and Grant is bringing them in. So
Bringing them in.
It's almost like another camera that you bring
Wow.
into it with that.
Very good.
Really interesting.
And Anthony Joseph, with his Spinning Wheels Racing Report, does a real good job for us.
Does.
We've enjoyed our friendship with him. He's very professional. He brings us to a new level.
He's almost a little too professional for us, you know.
Yeah, but we need it.
I know. He makes us look bad.
He does, but
We're so unprofessional.
well, we're in training. He's our mentor.
I know.
So anyway, other than that, I'm done. If you're done,
Well, I just want to encourage people if you're interested in techie stuff, video, audio, anything like that, stop by here one night. Check this out, or stop by Friday morning and just check the equipment out and check out what goes on.
hang out with us.
It's really interesting. Yeah, hang out with
It
us,
really
say hi.
is.
Yep, buy us
Yep.
breakfast, buy us dinner, buy us lunch,
if that doesn't suit,
buy us a gift
cards.
certificate. Yeah.
Right. So, but we're
All right.
looking for more helpers. We're looking to grow. We're looking for advertisers. We're looking for ideas. So, in other words, check us out. Stay tuned. If you want to be on the show, shoot me an email. Right now, we don't charge anything to be on. Someday we're going to, but right now it's no charge if you want to promote yourself or your business on the show.
Also,
Yes.
another one last thing.
Okay.
Go to Catch It Live's page on Facebook. That's the best way to keep up with what's going on in Catch It Live.
It is.
Go to our Facebook page and like us. Once you like us, then you'll get all of our Facebook feeds.
Because we put stuff on there at least once a month. We're an active group. All right, I got to go, okay?
We got to get
All right, good night, everybody. God
Good night.
bless you, and we'll see you Friday morning.
Friday morning, or you might hear us Thursday night
That's right. Thursday night. What's Thursday night?
if we do the basketball game Thursday
I
night.
thought you said Friday night.
You weren't paying attention.
Oh, depending on the snow. Okay. I got it,
do I
folks.
need to do
If
this
you
all
got
over
it,
again?
I got it. I'm good.
Would somebody please email Jim and let him know
All
what
the
we're doing on
details.
the basketball?
Okay. I got it. I'm
He
gonna
just
be here
collects the
Friday
checks.
morning.
That's all he does.
That's all I do.
Just collects the money.
Yep, I haven't cashed one yet, so.
Just holding them up.
Just holding them up. All right, I'll see you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.